One of Fox News' favorite fascists took to the air yesterday to demonize the fact that some people would like to fix the problem of school shootings.
The thing is, Sean, they just don't care. Now, however harsh that is to hear, it's true. They just don't care. They don't care if your kids die.
He's saying that people who want to ban ARs don't care if your kids die. Is that what he's saying? Or if he's saying that we shouldn't talk about doing the exact thing that would fix the problem soon after the death of children. This guy's name is Dan Bongino, in case you don't know who he is. Hopefully you don't. I mean, hopefully you're not listening to right-wing talk radio. This guy, Dan Bongino, does not give me a buongiorno, and he actually... I'm embarrassed to share the moniker of American of Italian descent with this guy because he is such a fascist.
I mean, these kids yesterday who were murdered in cold blood were still on the floor of this location. Their bodies hadn't even been removed. And Karine Jean-Pierre thought it'd be a good idea to go up to the White House podium and give some kind of a speech about gun control. And
oh my God, gun control. The exact thing that made the bodies be on the floor and not getting up and walking out into their parents' arms and into their children's arms and into their loved ones' arms. Because remember, it wasn't just kids that were shot here. It was other kids' moms.
Assault weapons ban, which, by the way, the Department of Justice itself noted didn't work. You see the picture, right?
Yeah.
Right there. There's 3 kids. Now,
yes, look at those 3 kids. Beautiful. And we should all care about the children, which we obviously do. But I notice he skips right over the 2 down in the corner because, hey, they're women and who gives a shit? And that's a black guy. So who cares about the adults? These are people's moms here, people's cousins, people's best friends. It's not just the kids who should be protected, but the kids obviously should be protected. And mentioned, I noticed like the teachers, there was a little mention of what a hero they are. How about when they got that call at home that mommy wasn't coming home, that mom wasn't coming home? How about that? I don't mean to make this more horrible than it is. So I'll just let Dan Bongino do it by talking.
If I were the White House press secretary, which I'm not, and I went out after this tragic incident, the first thing I would think to myself is, I should probably speak like I'm speaking to the parents right now. And if you were speaking to the parents who just found out that their lives are completely destroyed, that they're going to wake up the next morning with a child's empty bedroom and prepare them breakfast, even though they're not there because they're dead, you probably don't want to give a speech about gun control. I'm just going to throw that out there. But
or maybe you would. Maybe you would say, I'm sorry for your loss. I'm sorry we didn't do this before your loss. I'm very sorry about that. And to honor your children so that they and all the ones who came before them and all the people and all the victims of domestic violence and everyone else who was shot by an AR gets honored. We're going to ban these. That's exactly what I would want to hear.
That's this White House.
Because when something horrible happens to you, the only thing that makes it any better is changing it for somebody else in the future so that it doesn't happen again in the future, turning your tragedy into meaning. It's the only thing that really cures. Ugh. I mean, he's got the face of a fascist. It's embarrassing.
Well, Dan, one more note on this, Sean. Wait, one more note on this, because I spent a lot of time in the prison cells.
Really? He spent a lot of time in prison cells. I'm not surprised. Okay. It's not what he meant, but it was fun to hear it.
You know, interviewing bad guys, criminals don't give a damn about your gun laws. That's why when the Secret Service took Obama to Chicago when I was there, they had strict gun laws, Sean. Why didn't we leave our guns at home? There was no threat, right? Well, of course there was a threat, even though they had strict gun laws, because...
Isn't he just, sorry, but my head is blown here. Isn't he just making the point? He's basically saying, what he goes on to say is that if there aren't any strict even if there are strict gun laws, criminals still gonna crime, right? That's what he's saying. if there are strict gun laws, then criminals will have a much harder time getting an AR. A much harder time. And then we could ban the ARs and stop the criminals from getting the ARs that way. And we could do all this other stuff like fund mental health care, create a humane society for people. We could do all that stuff. We could do all of it, and we should be doing all of it. This guy makes me mad.
Why? Because criminals don't give a damn about gun laws.
He's a criminal. He is a criminal. I look forward to his trial where he is held in contempt for crimes that cause insanity by talking this bullshit to millions of people over the airwaves. Sorry, Casey, I said the S word. You're going to have to bleep it. I'm Julianna Forlano. You are watching the Political Voices Network. Thank you for watching. Please leave your comments below. I'm not going to even let you hear the rest of this because it is egregious. But somebody's got to talk back to it, and here we are.
Republicans say they won't cut Social Security, Medicare, or Medicaid. But can honest, hard-working middle-class Americans really believe what these politicians say? Republicans said they wouldn't overturn Roe v. Wade. Here's what Supreme Court Justices Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Coney Barrett said during their Senate confirmation hearings.
Roe v. Wade, it is a precedent of the United States Supreme Court. A good judge will consider it as precedent of the United States Supreme Court.
Roe v. Wade. It's settled as a precedent of the Supreme Court.
Roe is not a super precedent, but that doesn't mean that Roe should be overruled.
Well, we saw how that turned out. They played us for fools. Tell your elected officials to keep their hands off of our Social Security and health care benefits. Fool me once. Let Majority Rule was responsible for this message. LetMajorityRule.org is a project of the Marvin Lucas Super PAC, which is responsible for and paid for this ad and is not affiliated with or authorized by any political campaign or candidate or candidates committee.